Hey, good morning. Let's get the session started. I'm Holly George. I'll just be informally chairing the session. And today we are so happy to have Brenda Beyal, who's Navajo Diné, and she taught in a multi-age classroom in the Nebo district for 32 years. Brenda regularly performs and teaches as a Native American teaching artist in school. During her last 2 years with the Nebo district, she worked with Native American students and parents as an advocate and supporter. She now works with the BYU Arts Partnership, leading the Native American Curriculum Initiative. And also Emily Soderborg, who works with the BYU Arts Partnership as the project manager of the Native American Curriculum Initiative. In this role, she strengthens relationships, develops authentic and approved content, and disseminates material for teachers and students. She is also a music professional learning partner supporting educators in the BYU region. Before working for BYU Arts Partnership, she was a K-6 music specialist and elementary school teacher. This is going to be so good. So I will turn the time to you gals, and we have until 10 o'clock.
Fantastic. So I'm going to try to use my teacher voice because I'm just going to use my teacher voice. So this is Aipimpa, viewing water as a gift, and we're excited to be here with you. Let's go ahead and I'd like to introduce myself in Navajo just because I feel like my ancestors are listening, and if I don't do that, then you'd be disappointed. So yeah, she Brenda Beyal, and she Ashihin Chalky, I I just told you that I am born into the Salt Clan and born for the Tyree House people. My maternal grandparents are the Edgewater people, and my paternal grandparents are the Nearwater people. And that is the woman that I am.
So since I have a mask on, I'm going to use the mic because it makes it a little easier for you to hear me. So I just want to share that I feel really lucky to be here today. I've been able to work with Brenda from the onset of our Native American Curriculum Initiative. And I really value the opportunity to share a little what I have learned. Before we start, I want you to think about the fact that one of our guiding principles is to assume goodwill and learn from mistakes. So I know I've made mistakes in the past. I know I probably will continue to make mistakes, but especially as we're working with, we work with the 8 sovereign nations across Utah developing curriculum. And so we're going to be sharing some of those lessons with you today, but just we are all doing the best we can. We do the best we can, and when we know better, we do better. So as we approach anything, if we assume goodwill from those that we're learning with and from, and then learn from our mistakes. And then also, I love that Brenda shared her Navajo introduction. If we know our own culture, if we know who we are, it makes it easier for us to be open to listening and learning about other cultures without feeling threatened in our own culture. And so just recognizing, and I wish we had time to delve into that a little bit, but recognize that we each have culture, we each have ways of doing things, and we're going to be looking at things from another culture today, but that doesn't threaten the way we do things. It's just a different viewpoint, a different way of doing things.
So I have to use the mic because there are people listening online. And so we'd like to acknowledge that here where this Marriott Hotel sits is the ancestral lands of the Ute, Shoshone, Goshute, and Paiute. We honor all those whose moccasins have traveled across this land. Just think for a minute that there were people who probably danced, who sang, who did art, and who lived here on this land before this building was put down, before there were settlers that came into this area. And we'd like to acknowledge that they were thoughtful stewards of the land. And because of that, we, as a BYU Arts Partnership, feel like it's important for us to follow in their footsteps and also be good stewards of the land. And one way we do that is by amplifying Native voices, and also by, as we take walks or hikes, we pick up garbage as we go around, as we do things with our families. We intend to continue to help them to understand that we are stewards and not people who dominate the land.
Okay, so what we're sharing with you today, we want to make sure that you're aware. There are different type of Native voices that you can go to for approval of things. There are authentic voices, people who have lived experience. Brenda is an authentic voice. She has many lived experiences. She can't be an authentic voice for everything. She loves to share this example. Her husband is an authentic voice for boarding school because he actually went to boarding school when he was in kindergarten. Brenda is not that authentic voice. She is an authentic voice for someone who lives with someone from the trauma of boarding school. So you look at authentic voices. You also look at culture bearers, those that have the opportunity and feel the need to share their culture, oftentimes elders. And then our last one is official voices. In our initiative, we have felt very strongly that we needed to go to official voices. Those are tribal councils, education specialists, people who can speak for the entire group. And so the lessons we're going to be sharing with you today are the official voices of the Confederated Tribes of the Goshute Reservation. Their business council has approved these lesson plans. We've signed an MOU with them. So that you are aware that we have gone to official voices. So the things that we're sharing are not just authentic voices. We do use authentic voice and we do use culture bearers, but those are different types of ways to get approval. So we have gone to official voices. We also want you to know that one of our guiding principles is to allow time for authentic growth. We started the Native American Curriculum Initiative in 2018. And with these lessons, they were just barely approved this last spring, but we actually are still waiting for the lawyer to send us the MOU. So we haven't published them yet because we don't publish anything until we have everything officially in place. But that it shows that we are taking the time needed for authentic growth. We go at the time of the tribal nations that we're working with. So everything that we're sharing with you today has been approved by the tribal council. We wanted to share with you that the Goshute are the Confederated Tribe of the Goshute. They are related to the Western Shoshone. So ownership of land is a very Western idea. Unlike our political boundaries of city, county, state, traditional Native American borders were extremely fluid and changed with the seasons and over time. Before coming of explorers and the settlers from Europe, the Nua, or that's what the Goshute people call themselves, the Nua, meaning the people, lived in a very large area. It's also important to recognize that until forced to distinguish themselves as tribal nations, most of the Native American groups consisted of small family groupings, extended family groupings. That being said, the Goshute are part of a larger subset of Shoshone, but that doesn't mean that they necessarily consider themselves Shoshone, but that means that they are related with many different tribal nations that are in Nevada and Idaho, Utah, different areas. So as we're looking right here, so you have the Confederated Tribes of the Goshute are on the border between Nevada and Utah, but then you have Beyal, which is really not that far. They're related to them. They're related to other Goshutes here, the Northwest Band of the Shoshone Nation. They all speak Shoshone, those Shoshone tribes, and they interact together.
So another one of our principles is that we listen intently, and we listen with genuine intent, and then we listen attentively. When we've gone to the tribal nations here in Utah, we have found some interesting things that they that they really feel strongly about. So I'm going to ask you just a quick question. How many recognized tribal nations are in the United States? Over 300? Do you believe them? There are 574 recognized tribes in the sovereign nations here in the United States, and hundreds more looking for sovereignty or applying for sovereignty, which means you're recognized by the US government as a sovereign nation. Now, how many sovereign nations are here in Utah? And you can just count here, but how many of you that grew up in Utah have been told that there are 4 tribal nations or 5 tribal groups? That when we listened to the tribal nations, they wanted people to know, the children of Utah to know, and I guess just general public to know, that there are 8 sovereign nations, not 5 or not 4. And so we have come up with a way for you to remember this. So I'd like you to put your hand up.
Brenda, do you want to come do it here? So you
I'm sorry. So I'd like to have you put your hand up, and this represents the 5 that we usually recognize, and it would be the Shoshone, the Goshute, the Ute, the Paiute, and the Navajo. That's probably what you were taught. Well, yes, those are tribal groups, but not necessarily the sovereign nations or the tribes. There is one tribal nation or sovereign nation known as the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation, and they are up north. There is the Navajo Nation, which is down south, but these 3 each have 2 sovereign nations, and they want to be recognized as sovereign nations, which is you wouldn't want Utah to be thrown in with Colorado. You want Utah to be known individually as a state. Well, you think about sovereign nations. Goshute. Goshute is a tribal group, but there are 2 sovereign nations here in Utah that are Goshute. There are 2 sovereign nations that are Ute. There are 2 sovereign nations that are Paiute. So we have the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation, the Confederated Tribe of the Goshute, and the Skull Valley Goshute. And then we have the Ute, which are the Ute Indian Tribe of Utah of the Uinta and Ouray Reservation. And then we have the Ute Mountain Ute. And then we have the Paiute, which is the Paiute Indian Tribe of Utah and the San Juan Southern Paiute. Today, we are focusing in on one sovereign nation, which is the Confederated Tribe of the Goshute. And this is their story, and this is their perspective.
Sorry.
So if you take a look at this map, the Confederated Tribe of the Goshute just lies on the Utah-Nevada border. Their land, or their reservation lands, are about 525 square miles. They're located in Juab, Tooele, and counties, as well as White Pine County in Nevada. And there are over 600 members of the tribe. Their history is fascinating because you think about Ibapah, and it just looks like it's just a deserted place. And they were relocated in the 1800s actually there was 2 relocations.
More than that.
More than that. And they kept trying to relocate them. And the Confederated Tribe of the Goshute kept coming back to that land. And when you drive out there, you think, why would you come back here? But their story is fascinating because they have a real symbiotic relationship with the land.
Okay, so we're going to be looking at a few words today that I want you to be able to say. So our first one is Aipimpa, and the formatting got messed up a little bit. It's okay though. So Aipimpa means chalky creek. So if you look at the third word down there, it's ba, spelled pa. So Aipimpa means the water, and Aipim means the chalk, a white chalk. But that was anglicized to Ibapah. And so Ibapah really means Aipimpa. It's just the anglicized version of them. So many years ago, the Goshutes, let me see this right here. So
Here, there you go.
So many years ago, the Goshute Indians, and they used that word for themselves, used the word Imbimba to describe the chalky creek that goes through the valley. The water was essential for their survival then. It still is essential for their survival today. And so as you're thinking about this, I'm going to tell a little bit more about I wanted to just share one more guiding principle. So my brain stopped. So as we're doing this, we want to look at original and accurate sources. And so as we were looking at a phonetic pronunciation, we talked with Clell Pete, who is a fluent Goshute speaker, to get the pronunciation. So as you're looking at doing research, doing things, anytime you can, you go to original and accurate sources, but also we then confirmed things with the Shoshone Talking Dictionary online. But you have to be careful using that because they have dialects from all of the different Shoshone tribes. So when we looked at that, we could only use the ones that were from Ibapah because the dialects are different between the different bands of the Shoshone. So as we're doing this, just like Brenda was saying, historically the Goshute traveled throughout their ancestral homelands following the seasons and the natural production of food and the presence of water. So water wasn't always present in every season. So in this way, they lived in harmony with the land, and this lifestyle benefited the Goshute and protected the ecological landscape. But over time, they were forced to live on specific reservations. So the government tried to force them to the Uinta Basin. They tried to force them to Fort Hall. They tried to force them to reservations in Nevada. They even tried to move them to Oklahoma. So every time they kept coming back, and it took 60 years for them to be able to have their own reservation, 60 years of fighting. They recently have had their own different kind of fight, not a fight for land, but a fight for their water. In 2006, the Goshute began a lengthy fight for their water rights. Various communities have tried to pipe water from their valleys to different areas surrounding them. And the value of the water is so important to them. They're concerned that the groundwater is going to be pumped because they rely on the spring water, regional streams, and access to irrigation for their own way of doing things. But they also know that if the water is piped to other locations, it leaves the plants and animals in the original area without water. So this is Rupert Steele. He is the tribal chairman right now. And he talked more about how it's not just a fight to protect the land and the animals and their lifestyle, but he says to the Goshute, the threat of lost water is more than just for the people, plants, and animals. Water carries a soul. Rupert Steele shared, we know our ancestors for a long time left their spirits here. So in the valley south of where their reservation is, there were 3 huge massacres that happened in the late 1800s that they feel like all of their ancestors are still in the water there. So the Goshutes still hold ceremonies at the water springs. They held ceremonies before these massacres happened, but the massacres made the sites even more sacred. And so some come to drink from and talk to the water. And Rupert has said, if this dries up, that goes away. We have no place to practice our spiritual ways. So we want to, and I don't know why Rupert's name is not there either, but that's okay.
So this is Spring Valley, Nevada, and this is where the swamp cedars are located. And it probably looks a lot different now than because of the drought, but take a look at this. Now, when you listen to Rupert Steele, he talks about the land and the water and the trees and the plants differently than most people talk about it. He talks about it as if there is a relationship with the environment where there are actually, I don't even know if I want to say human qualities, there are qualities that we as humans are, that we accept for ourselves, but we sometimes don't see nature in that way. Many times we feel like water, plants, and animals are there for us. But have we ever thought about it as that they are our brothers and sisters? So now this is, I feel like, this is just me, I feel like we're not ever going to heal the earth until we move to that kind of thinking. That if we keep thinking that we are dominant over the earth, that as much as all of the policies that we put together, all of the laws, if we don't go back to seeing ourselves having a relationship with the earth, it is going to be very, very hard to get to a place where we are able to live and have sustainability on the earth. So we'd like to do some practicing with you. We'd like to see if maybe, as you look at this image here, I want you to just maybe think about moving into the Confederated Tribe of the Goshutes perspective of this land, of Spring Valley, and of the swamp cedars. Leave your own perspective behind and just move into their space. So what do you see and what thoughts come to your mind?
One thing stands out are the trees. They have been there for quite some time. If they can speak to you.
I'm sure they have wisdom for you, and I'm positive of that. Thank you. Any other thoughts?
Peaceful, tranquil. Obviously, the water is very clear.
So there's this sense of a rhythm, maybe a relationship, a sense of maybe connectedness that brings about peace and tranquility.
I see abundant life, life that is thriving, where the typical white man perspective of the area was desert. John Fremont, this is a Great Basin, the Great American Desert. So this is thriving life. There's life everywhere.
What we see in the image is just the surface, but there hasn't been much going on.
So maybe that takes us to maybe some ideas of real living and real intention of plants and animals and trees. Okay, so there is a drama strategy that we like to use with students that we'd like to use with you today. I'm looking for 4 volunteers, and I would like these volunteers to come up and take a frozen position as one of these, and I'm going to call them beans, in this photo. So you may come and personify the plants here. Maybe you will personify the water, maybe the trees or the mountains, anything you see here. maybe the fence there. So I'm looking for 4 volunteers that are willing to come up and take a frozen position and actually begin thinking and embodying that being. Any volunteers? Fantastic, 1. Okay, 3 more to go. And don't tell us who you are, just take a position here. Fantastic, there's 2 more. Okay,
She's done the hard part. You just come do whatever. Being the first person is the hardest. Oh, it's okay. You can do it too.
okay, wherever you would like. Okay, so they have now taken a position. Now I'm going to ask them to do some thought tracking, which means as I come to them and I tap them on the shoulder, I want them to express their thoughts and feelings as they embody that particular being or plant or whatever you have decided your silhouette is. And I want you to talk in their position. Okay, we're ready.
I am the algae or the plants that are growing in the water. And as I'm embodying that, I'm thinking about how there's parts of me that are probably moving in the water, parts of me that are static below the surface of the mud.
Fantastic.
I chose to embody the mountain. It's kind of a classic yoga pose, like the mountain yoga pose. So it's not technically like my pose, but I didn't think of it originally, but it's like part of the narrative of that. But a lot of that is grounding your feet within the earth, like all 4 corners of your feet, and breathing deeply, which I think is very applicable for a mountain because they are very grounding.
My arms got tired, so I put them down, but I was the tree, one of the trees. And I was thinking about how trees have their own communication networks with each other and through their root systems, and how that is vital to everything else that's around.
Okay, back up. Oh, okay, thank you. I was being this tree one of these conical nice cedars over here, and I was trying to be as upright as possible because it's a tree. So I was kind of trying to channel strength and think of my spine being as straight as possible and gathering strength from the ground.
Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. You can go ahead and sit back down. So when we thought track, we actually embody someone else's perspective. Now, thank you for doing this. It's a strategy that helps us to listen together to a character's inner thoughts and feelings and ideas. So what I'd like you to do is, well, let me go ahead. So some of you may have thought this to be awkward, that what would a tree say? Why would we even do this? Well, I keep thinking about what Darren Perry talked about yesterday, and also what Rupert Steele says, that everything has a soul. And when we think about things as equal, then we understand that we have a relationship with them. So I want to quote Winona LaDuke. She's a contemporary leader from the White Earth Anishinaabe land, and she's also an activist. And she said, Native American teachings describe the relations all around, animals, fish, trees, and rocks, as our brothers, sisters, uncles, and grandpas. These relations are honored in ceremony, song, story, and life that keep relations close to buffalo, bison, surgeon, salmon, turtles, bears, wolves, and panthers. These are our older relatives, the ones who came before and taught us to live. Just an invitation to you. The next time you go outside, maybe you're going to go for a hike or a walk. Maybe you're going to go and just take the garbage out. Take a moment and see the earth beings around you as equals, as your brothers and sisters and relatives. So this past week, and I don't know if James did this, I hope he did, this past week, it was our first snowstorm. And for the Navajo people, the very first snow, and I didn't do this, I'm waiting for a bigger snow. The very first snow that piles up in your yard, we take our children and we take ourselves out there and we wash ourselves with the snow. And as we wash ourselves, we say a prayer, but we also talk to the snow and we ask the snow to be our friend. And my father took us out there every year, and my father never got cold. I never saw my father get cold in the snow. And he would say, you make friends with the snow and the snow won't bite you. The snow won't harm you and it won't hurt you. And so that relationship is something that is intertwined in our culture still today. So I invite you to maybe begin thinking about the earth as your equal.
So this is a page from a book that we're going to talk about a little bit more. But I wanted to share a little bit about this statement. Water is a gift from our Mother Earth. So the Goshute people have worked hard to protect their water and have it stay in their valleys. They feel the water is sacred. It is, to them, it is a precious gift. The Goshute people know that none of us would be here if it wasn't for water. It gives life to everything, the plants, mountains, trees, animals, just like in the picture we were looking at, not just the Nuit people. Water brings things together. It brings the animals. Charlene Pete talked to us about how the animals instinctively know where to dig to find the water in the desert. The water brings together people. Before the reservations were established every year in Spring Valley that we were just looking at, known to the Goshutes as Basawabi, the people would meet for celebrations. It was a meeting place for many related peoples, not just the Goshute, but also the Shoshone, Paiute, Pavant, and others traveling through. For the Goshute, water is life because water carries the songs and connects people today to their ancestors who came before. So Rupert Steele has also said, I always sing songs for my people. When a relative passes away, their remains go back to Mother Earth. Those songs will come up in the water. That is why water is life. So this is the title page and then some students from Ibapah Elementary. They wrote and illustrated their own book about Aipimpa, which is the Chalky Creek in their lower reservation. The simple book shows that the value of water to the Goshute is understood even by the youngest members of their community. At a 6-week evidentiary hearing in the summer of 2011, during their legal battles to protect their water, the Confederated Tribes of the Goshute presented testimonies and evidence of the negative impact water removal would have. Those testimonies included this book created by the Ibapah school children. Aipimpa, the chalky creek that winds through the valley, is essential to their survival and is threatened by modern encroachment, just as their Goshute language is.
So part of the book was learning about personification. And personification, as you can see up here, is when you give human qualities or abilities to an object or an animal, and it is describing something non-human as though it were a person. Personification is a type of figurative language that can be found in poems, songs, and stories. Using personification helps readers to create a vivid picture in their minds. So the students were asked to personify water. And let's go ahead and take a look at the book. We'd like to read the book. Oh, this is crooked. Oh, there you go. Okay, so we'd like to read the book to you that they wrote. And as we're reading as I'm reading the book, think about the images that come to your mind. Oh dear, I'm reading the book and then you're going to go ahead. Okay, so oh, the book's not in there. Sorry. So that what they did is they each wrote a personification statement. After the personification statement that they wrote, they did artwork with it. Now, that's what we're going to ask you to do. We're going to ask you to write a personification statement, and then we're going to ask you to do some artwork with it. Emily, can you see the book? Okay, so I have a whole row here with paper and chalk pastels. I think while we're waiting, I'm going to just share with you some specific well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the techniques that you can use with chalk pastel. So if you could take your chalk pastel and look at and just take a piece of paper. There are different ways of using chalk pastel. One way of using chalk pastel is using it as if it were a pencil, which means you were just drawing hard lines. So you're just taking it and I just drew a hard line. So go ahead and draw a hard line on your paper.
We have more up here.
If you would like to come up here. Another way to use chalk pastel is to put it on its side and just move it across your paper, and you will see that it covers a lot of space. Now, another way to use chalk pastel is to take and put it on its side again, but this time, sometimes I didn't hand out the Kleenexes, so you're gonna have to use your fingers. Take your fingers and actually rub it, and that gives you kind of a muted kind of technique. So let's go ahead and take a look at the book.
We can't get the book.
We
open
can't get the book.
because of the way it's working. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So we should have put it in the PowerPoint.
We should
instead
have
of-
put it in the PowerPoint.
So while we're working on this, I wanted to share a little bit. So one of our guiding principles is to accept no gracefully. So the Goshute people have songs they sing to their water. The water listens as they sing. These people listen and learn from the water. However, because water is so important to them, these Goshute songs are sacred. Because of their sacredness, they have said that these songs are not appropriate to be shared in any classroom. And since we're working with teachers and getting these for students, but many people across the world respect and honor water. So there are many water songs from many different cultures, each with its own deep meaning and beauty. The Algonquin people, an indigenous nation located near the Great Lakes in the United States and Canada, created a water song that can be shared by those who want to honor and protect the water. So this specific song is meant for women, but because women are the protectors of the water and it is part of their responsibility, but they have said this, having the women sing is honoring an ancestral tradition, but men are encouraged to do their part, which is so needed at this time because times are changing. So they've invited any who feel comfortable to sing this water song because this water song came from a woman for everyone. So this song, we're going to listen and then we'll sing and listen as we're creating artwork. So I'm going to play this for you today. Oh, never mind. Look, can you just push the play button on there? I think on that one.
Granddaughter, the water can hear you. The water has memory.
Nibi, Wabo, Endayan, Water is the life's blood of our mother, the earth. Water is the lifeblood of our own body. To continue to pass on the knowledge that needs to be given unto the other generations. You are the keeper of the water.
To make the change in this life condition that we're in, that great-grandchildren will stand up to this truth of what life is about and to live it in such an honorable way, the way ancestors came to this earth.
Each day when the sun rises, no matter how bad the day before might have been, there's a new chance for your hopes and dreams. And I say, Chimikwech, thank you for singing the water song.
So what we would like to do is we would like to make our own water song. And the way we're going to do that is we would like each of you to write your own personification statement. And this is how we'd like to do it. We'd like you to choose a word from each list or choose your own words. So choose a word here. And these are all water words, or if you have a word of your own, if you have another something else that you want to put in place, but choose a word and then choose a verb and personify your noun. So in this case, it could be the Provo River, the Provo River teased me as I floated down as I floated down its arms, something like that. So can you come up with a personification statement? And then we're going to create our water song. You have 2 minutes to create a personification statement.
So if you need paper, you can come up and grab stuff. So we're going to actually have you share them. So write down your personification statements.
We're creating our own water song. So we'd like you to share your own personification statement. If you don't have a personification statement, maybe give us a statement about your belief about water. And then what we're going to do is we are going to share. Emily, tell them what our plans are.
So this song the one that we just listened to, we'll do the hey, 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 ho. And then I might say, so each person, and then we would sing, hey, 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 ho, hey, 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 ho. The next person would share theirs.
And we'd love to have you join us in the chorus. So we're going to give you 1 more minute. And if you're feeling like, oh, I can't do a personification statement, give us your belief about water.
I'm writing mine down.
Okay, I'm going to write one down.
So I have one here, because otherwise my brain doesn't do it on the spur of the moment. So as you're writing yours, think about the experiences you have with water. Maybe it's just taking a shower. Maybe it is the water that you drink and where you get that from. Maybe it's washing the dishes. So those are times when you can think about the water, you can sing to the water, just your everyday occurrences with water around you. So with the Algonquin water song, it is meant to be sung 4 times. So you would face east first, then south the second time, then west, and then finish singing north. So we might sing our heya heyas facing those directions as well. Brenda, are you ready?
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead. Emily, if you can start us out.
Yep, I'm going to sing the first part.
And then you give us your statement.
Okay.
And then we'll sing the chorus or the part that you sing, and then you will be next. Okay. And
Okay.
then we'll just go right
Across
around the room.
Yeah. Okay. So Nibi wabo indayan aki miskwi nibi wabo hey 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 ho. The morning mist hugged me as I stepped outside. Hey 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 ho.
The lapse of the shoreline calmed my soul.
Hey-ya, 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 ho.
The flower danced away.
Hey-ya, 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 ho.
The lake hugged the plants, giving them life.
Hey-ya, 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 ho.
The tsunami and towered and fought for what's it. Words. The tsunami towered and fought for what's its.
Hey-ya, 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 ho.
The river dances over the rocks.
Hey-ya, 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 ho.
The ocean clapped at the shore.
Hey-ya, 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 ho.
The droplet of water nestled in the safe home of the aloe vera's leaf.
Hey-ya, 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 ho.
The rain